Hey everybody, this is Rustin with Metalholic Magazine, and here with us tonight, the uber lovely and talented and caustic-throated Grace Perry of Landmine Marathon. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Absolutely wonderful myself. How are things down in the desert?
They're getting hotter, which I'm so happy about because I hate the cold.
Oh, see, I had to leave Arizona. I had to leave Phoenix just because it was... I was spending my entire life in air conditioning, so...
I understand what you mean. I'm the third generation, so I'm stuck here. I don't have anywhere else I can live comfortably.
I remember when I bought my house down there, it's like, you got to have a pool. So we built this swimming pool, and then we figured out we can't use it because it's like a bathtub. The only time of year you actually want to get into it, there's no respite. It's too hot.
There's like 2 months out of the year that it's like functional.
Exactly. So you're down there burning up the desert. Your new album, Gallows, I know it was released earlier in the summer here in the States, worldwide in January. I believe Terrorizer picked it up as Album of the Month in January. So,
yeah, it was amazing.
And great album. It seemed you guys seem to just keep taking progressive step forward in your sound. Is that how you feel about it, or?
That's what we hope for. Like, I feel that way. I know my band feels that way, and I hope everyone else does too. I know that we've been true to ourselves from day one, and we continue to play music that we love, and that's all that matters to us. And so whether, fans' eyes or critics' eyes, we, evolve or get better. I mean, I hope so. I think we are. I think that this is our best album yet by far.
Well, screw the critics. They don't know anything anyway. Praising you, right? Unless they're praising you, of course.
Exactly. They don't know shit unless they love us. So we're...
For those who aren't as familiar with you yet, I mean, right before I left Phoenix, the buzz was just starting to build about you guys. And you originally put the band together with Matt Martinez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt and I started the band.
When you guys first started, you were really far away from where your sound is now, I think. How did that sort of evolve for you guys?
I think it was more of just like, when we acquired Ryan in the band, who writes most of the music now, Ryan Butler, he really, really, helped us develop the sound we have now. At first, we were grindcore, we were fast, our songs were a minute long. We were so over the top aggressive, and I loved it, and I still love it to the day. I love our early work, but I think we wanted to just be more accessible, not only with fans but with ourselves. Have more structure within our songs, I guess is the best way to put it. And I really, really, really wanted that. This is the first metal band I had ever been in, and it was so chaotic that it was hard for me to really, really develop my position as a singer. And so when we got more in depth with our music and really, really found our sound and found ourselves and found what we wanted to be, it took a while, and I really love what we're doing now, and I feel like I have grown up so much since the beginning, not only as a person but within the band. I felt like I was diving headfirst into a world that was so out of reach for me. It was something that I didn't think I'd ever conquer, and now I feel so comfortable and confident and proud of what I've done.
There's very few women in metal who do the harsh vocals, the growling and such, Angela Gossow, Lisa White Glues, and a few other names. What led you into that? Was there sort of a moment in your life where you're like, this is really what I want to do?
It was this band. It was. I had been in band since I was 16. I had always been in music. I couldn't imagine myself not being in a band. I had been in a couple bands before this. No, nothing metal, but I was in a high school punk rock band because, and then I got really into hardcore, and then I was in a screamo, hardcore band, and that was more of a very chaotic, there was no real direction, and then Matt Martinez saw me in that band and recognized my vocal ability before even I did. You know, like, he recognized what I was capable of and was like, would you like to start a metal band? And I told him, I was like, I knew a bit about metal, and this is when I was 19 years old, and I'm 26 years old now, so it's a while ago. I don't know that much about metal. I don't know if I can represent it the way that, you know, it should be represented. And it took me about a year to really find my footing and find my niche. And I fell in love with the genre that I play now and fell in love with metal in general. Like, I can't imagine my life without it. And so I think this band was the defining moment. You know, the first year of this band was when I realized that this is what I was supposed to be doing, you know.
Which is harder for you, doing sort of the, as I said before, the caustic singing, if you will, or doing the clean vocals?
The what I do now is way easier. I can't sing worth shit.
That's why you gave up on those early bands, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit it right now. I'm not going to pretend I have some sort of great clean voice. It's fine. I mean, it's tolerable. It's not like I'm, you know, it's not like I have no, you know, way or ability singing wise, but when it comes down to it, I'm much, much more comfortable doing what I do now. Much, like 1,000 times more.
Now, for those who don't know the backstory on the band, you guys have a cool name. What's the story behind that?
It was just a play on word thing where we stumbled upon it and we're like, that sounds really, really brutal. and it stuck.
It is. It's a great, great title. So now for you, there's beginning to be a lot more women in metal, obviously, and it's a great, great thing to see. But then you've got people out there, and Revolver, I love Revolver magazine, and I'm sure you're thrilled that they picked you to be one of the hottest women in metal. But how do you really feel about them picking you for that instead of your talent as a singer and a front woman and everything else that you do?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot, and I really like never struggled with it as far as like, you know, because I grew up with a feminist mother. I'm very much a strong woman, and I never feel that I have ever exploited my body or my femininity to gain my, you know, a leg up in our music, in this music. I feel like the type of music we play, whether you're a girl, whether you're a pretty girl, or or a dude, or you know, a hermaphrodite, whatever the hell you are as a person, it doesn't matter. Like, because the fan base for this genre of music are so harsh, so much more harsh, so much more. I mean, they're more dedicated, but they're also more judgmental. So you get the hardcore, dedicated fans, but you also get the really, really harsh critics. And so I've always felt that, like, the way I've represented myself, and I whether or not I'm in Revolver, whether or not I'm on stage, I've always been myself. I've never have worn clothing that I felt to be, you know, questionable in my eyes. I mean, any girl can do whatever the hell they want. I mean, a girl can get up there naked and scream her brains out or do whatever. It's her life. I don't care. But for myself and who I'm as a person, like, I've always been myself. I've always acted in a way that I thought was in line with what I believed in and who I was. And so, and I've never been ashamed of being a girl. I've always been really stoked that I'm a girl. And for someone to celebrate that fact is not something I take an offense, because I'm confident that I'm doing a good job whether or not I'm a girl. Like, it's amazing because, like I said, our fans are so dedicated but also so judgmental that if I wasn't doing a good job as, you know, as a singer, they sure as hell would let me know. You know, like, it's something that I've always just, like, even if I do something like Revolver, I'm not going to take away from Landmine. I'm not going to take away from our credibility, because who we are as a band and what we've been doing for the past 7 years has never faltered. Like, we've never, you know, quote unquote, changed our image, changed who we are as people, you know, gone down the wrong path. Like, we've played the music that we've loved day in, day out, and we continue to do so.
Right. I guess the question I'm asking is sort of the follow-up question to that, because I figure that's a question you probably get asked quite a bit. But I mean, do you foresee a time when we could actually have a metal band doing what you do, but you know, the woman who's fronting it could get away with looking like Lemmy Kilmister or something?
I've seen it I mean, I have come across it. I think it's totally possible. I mean, when I first started this band, the amount of women that were on tour were like, I saw maybe one other band that had one girl in it one time. Now it happens every once in a while. It's way more common. And I get so excited because, believe me, when you're a girl on tour and you are just surrounded by dudes 24 hours a day and you find a girl that's also on tour in the same situation, it's like you found fucking Jesus. But it's literally like you found God, because you're just like, oh my God, this doesn't exist. And now it's much more common, and it makes me so much happier, because there shouldn't be some sort of, you know, separation in male or female. Like, it should be all one and the same. It should be people enjoying music. And I think it's really going in that direction. I absolutely think that it's going in the direction it should, where whether you have a vagina or a penis, it doesn't matter. You're up there doing what you love.
Now, are there, you know, anytime I ask a female vocalist who her inspirations are vocally, almost inevitably they're all male, which is absolutely wonderful and not surprising in the least, but are there any women who are in metal that impress you, that you either look up to or that you really like for their talent and their skills and everything?
There's a really obscure reference, and I don't really know if a lot of people will know, but they're no longer a band. They were a band called Salome, and and Kat from Salome is incredible. She's incredible. Like, she's one of the most amazing vocalists I've ever heard in music, in that genre of music that they played in. And I really, it's whether or not I looked up to her, but because we were a band before Salome, and so they actually opened for us, I believe, is how it happened. And I was like, oh my God, like, you know, I had never heard a female sound like that before, and so I really respect her, as I feel like almost as like a peer. I really respect her as a woman in metal. I'm really sad that they're no longer a band too. But as far as other women go, I mean, there's lots of like musicians, most definitely. But as far as vocalists, it's hard for me to find them, because there's not a lot of them. You know,
Right.
It's not a matter of me being judgmental against them. It's just there's not a lot to choose from, and when I honestly say who my influences are, they tend to be, you know, men, definitely. Right. So just because there's way more to choose from.
Absolutely, you know, it's not surprising at all. But, well, I appreciate, because I'm sure you get tired of talking about that stuff, but no matter how much you talk about it, people are always interested in it.
And I think I'm one of those people that, like, I don't get tired of talking about it, because it's part of who I am. Right. So it's something that comes with the territory, and I take pride in it, you know.
Well, let's get back to the new album. Now, first, you guys put one out in 2010. You put one out last year. That's a pretty quick pace. Are you guys planning another one this year before the world ends in December, or are we looking at 2013, assuming that they're wrong?
I don't think we're going to be that quick. We just got a new drummer, so right now we're in a very transitional phase of the band, where we're trying to, you know, have our new drummer, get a group going, we want to go overseas. We want to do a lot of things before we write our next record.
Right.
I think we're definitely going to start writing once summer comes, but as far as release, we're looking in the 13s for that. But yeah.
That's kind of what I figured, but I figured I'd ask. Now, you just mentioned to it was going to be one of my questions. Mike, and I'm sorry if I butcher his name, Mike Pohlmeyer, your drummer for the entire time you guys were together until 2010. He departed. Andy York was in for like a year and a half or so. He's departed. Now you've got Raul Varela. Tell us what happened there and how you chose Raul.
Well, when Andy was not in the band anymore, we really took a step back, and we were like, look, it's not like we're a big band. We're definitely not a big band, but we are a solid band. We've been around for 7 years. We know what we are. We know who we are. We're not trying to, develop any type of new sound. What will be the best option for us? And we tried a few people locally, and we're pretty well, immersed in the Phoenix scene. So it's like we know what we were getting ourselves into. We know the people. We know what to expect. And we really thought about it. It's like we want someone who we know will be perfect. And Raul has been a good friend of ours for a very long time. I have stayed at his house. We all have known him. He is on the same page as all of us already. Like, there's no having to get to know him. There's no grace period. There's just, Raul is awesome. We know he's awesome. He's down to do anything, and it was perfect. Whether or not he lives in San Francisco didn't matter to us because it's worth it. And so it was the easiest experience I've ever had in acquiring a new member of the band, and I am so thankful to have him in the band because he's perfect. He's a perfect fit.
Ryan pretty much writes the music now, and that was sort of the same situation. Here was a guy who was your friend. He was doing the engineering of your early recordings, and he just blended right into the band and sort of helped you guys find your direction. Now, does he write the lyrics as well, or is that something that you do as vocalist?
No, I write everything. I write all the lyrics always. I'm way too controlling to let anybody else do that. I'd freak out if that happened. So no.
So tell us a little bit about your approach then to writing the lyrics. Because it is a very unique type of music. So tell us a little bit about that. Yeah. It's different than I would say the 90% of music that's out there. You don't write lyrics the way you would think. It's a very abrupt process. And so what I usually do for each album is I write a ton of what I would call lyrics or poetry or ideas, and I write pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of that. And then they write the music, and for the most part, it doesn't change once lyrics are applied to the music unless I have like a real big issue with a certain part. But they write the music, and then I come in and I apply what I have to the music. I'll change cadence, I'll change wording or, syllables here and there, and that's the best way. And that way there really is a flow to the entire album, because for the most part, at least for the past 2 albums, they've both been more or less concept albums, especially with Gallows. It was very, very much a concept album, and you can really tell in the lyrics, and I feel like it flows better than any of the other albums because I wrote such a large body of work for it, and then applied it to the music, and I had so much to choose from, and was able to really, really fine tune it more than I have in previous albums. Now, on this album, if somebody hadn't listened to you guys before, and you were going to present them Gallows and say, here's our work, listen to these 2 or 3 songs and you'll really get a feel for who we are, which 2 or 3 songs on the album would you tell them to listen to first?
I would tell them Beaten and Left Blind is my favorite by far. It's a fun song. The lyrics are passionate and totally in line with the music, and whenever I sing it, I get a jolt of energy I really don't get, very often. And I would say Beaten and Left Blind, and I would also have to say Cloaked in Red. It's a fun song. It's more punk-driven. It's more fast-paced. It just get a blast of music, and then when you're done, and you feel like you got hit by a train. And then I would say I think those would be the top 2 of this album. Three Snake Leaves is my band's favorite by far. If you were to ask my band as a whole, they would say Three Snake Leaves, but those are my personal 2.
Well, tell us a little bit about you, because everybody always wants to know about the lead singer. What you get up on stage and you put so much into everything that you do. And by the time you're done, especially the type of music you play, you've got to be not just physically, but mentally, emotionally exhausted. What are you into outside of playing metal with Landmine Marathon?
Well, I was in college for quite a while. I graduated a few years back, so I'm done with that. So that was my other thing for quite a while outside of Landmine. That was pretty hard to do both. But I also I have all of my family that lives in Arizona, so I'm very close with all of them. I work just like everyone else. I was a librarian for a long time, but I got laid off. So right now, I am so happy because we got back from a very, very long month and a half long tour, and since then, that was back in November, we have pretty much just like taken it easy.
Right.
We were going pretty full force for about 2 years straight, and this is the longest break we've had in I can't remember, and it's been really nice. So I would say that I'm going to probably go back to school soon, but that's always, my band always talks me out of that. So and somehow, so I'm sure I'll do that at some point. But right now I'm just having a lot of fun and, gearing up for our next tour.
What sort of degree are you working on?
Well, I graduated in a degree in public policy.
Nice.
It's essentially a political science degree, more or less, and I was planning on becoming a full-blown librarian, but then I got laid off. So those plans changed very quickly. But that's what my degree is in, and if I was to go back to school, it's up in the air right now. But law school is always on the table.
Interesting. So it paints such a picture too, because obviously you're quite lovely, but then you've got this whole caustic image, as I keep coming back to your voice and it's just like that image of the library, with the dark hair and the glasses, and then the hair comes flying loose. But in your case, you rip their face off. So
it's always very, very, very. Whenever I become friends with someone who is not a part of heavy music by any means and is not familiar with metal or anything, and it's usually like work friends or family friends, that kind of thing, and of course, I usually never ever bring it up, and it's not that I'm ashamed, it's more of I just it's not something I bring up easily, and someone else will, and then they'll go and Google me, and I'm just like, oh God. Their image of me and their perception of who I was completely morphs into something else, and hopefully it's a good thing.
Obviously, family and music are going to be the biggest things to you, but, what are you passionate about? Do you have any hobbies that you're into, things that you do either to relax or...
Well, oh God, here we go. I am a massive, massive, massive nerd, to the point of where I own Star Trek uniforms, so that is what I do. I have, uniforms, and I play Dungeons & Dragons on a weekly basis, and I go to Comic-Con, and I am insanely nerdy.
See, now you
know
the deep, dark secret of Grace Perry.
There we go. I admit it. I am a level 5 Dragonborn knight in my D&D group. Don't worry about it.
I've got to imagine you're a voracious reader if you're talking lots.
Oh, absolutely. My band hates me because I own a Kindle, but I don't use it, so I'll bring 12 books on tour, so I have a library in the van. I hate it.
What do you love to read?
Sci-fi fantasy. I'll read a lot of biographies for sure, but I'm a huge sci-fi fantasy nerd. I read a lot of Neil Gaiman, Orson Scott Card, any stereotypical stuff like that.
Well, so if you had a transporter, where would you transport yourself?
Oh, God, I would transport myself probably... I would have to transport somewhere into space, most likely. And if I had a transporter that was in my fantasy world, I would transport myself onto the USS Enterprise. So there we go.
Which one, Picard or Kirk?
Oh, actually, you know what? Picard. He's the sexiest man alive. How can you even question that? Kirk's an asshole.
There you go. The intelligent one without the bad toupee. Just shave your head. Yeah. Good God. Get rid of the ego. So, Grace Perry of Landmine Marathon, my last question then for you. Give us 5 albums that changed your life.
Okay, here we go. And they're not going to be all metal, so...
That's fine.
I would have to say Slaughter of the Soul by At the Gates, Heartwork by Carcass, Blue Album by Weezer. That was my teen years, my middle school years. I would say Dear You by Jawbreaker, and, oh God, I'm going to go with Muddy Waters, Electric Mud.
Nice. Nice mix there. You had some good metal in there, but also something so show the other shades of you. So the new album Gallows is out now. You guys are probably going to be touring for much of the year after you take this break and everything, I'm assuming. Europe? Definitely. Are you going to be doing the United States again, or?
We're doing U.S. in the summer, Europe in the fall. So fingers crossed. Oh, sorry. We're playing Orion Fest in the summer, so we're taking a tour off of that.
That's what I meant to ask you about. You guys are on Metallica's Orion Fest. How did that come about?
Oh, my God. I have no idea. All of us are in complete... We have a friend. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this. Brian Liu. He's a very good friend of ours who, back in the day, very long time ago, followed, was a huge fan of Metallica and actually became friends with members of Metallica in a very loose way. I mean, it's not like they're best friends, but they definitely know each other and are a part of each other's lives. And I think by some chain of fate was able to introduce them to us, and we were asked to play, and all of our minds exploded, essentially. We didn't even really know how to respond to something like that, because when you get asked to play something like that and it's handpicked by the members of Metallica, it's one of the biggest honors you could ever get.
Absolutely.
So.
You guys are going to be playing the Damage Inc. stage, I think, right?
Yes, yeah. So nice. It'll be intense.
Yeah, there's such a broad mix of bands that it's not like they're just doing a bunch of metal bands. They're getting them from like every genre. So for you to be picked as a metal band is really a great accolade for you guys. So
yeah, so we're planning a whole tour around that festival, and we'll be hitting up everywhere in the United States.
Well, hopefully you'll get to my neck of the woods. Nobody comes here, which was one of the reasons I moved here, but unfortunately I forgot about the fact that nobody comes to play here.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I understand that. I've always wanted to move to somewhere more remote, but I would miss so many things like dams.
Grace, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. Next time, we'll sit down face to face.
Thank you so much for wanting to interview me.
Grace, again, thanks so much. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon. Gallows is an excellent album, and we look forward to whatever you come up with next.